By the spring of 1945, the Pacific War had reached the brutal truth. Japan was running out of ships, out of planes, and out of pilots. So it turned to something darker. Over Okinawa, American sailors would face an enemy that no longer planned to return home. And among the pilots sent to stop them was a young Hellcat aviator, Don McPherson. This is the story of how the skies over Okinawa were softened, shattered, and set ablaze long before the first American boots touched the beach. By late March 1945, Okinawa was already under siege, but from the air. From the decks of American carriers, McPherson and his squadron launched daily missions designed to break the island before the invasion even began. Their first priority was air power. Targeting airfields. Japanese airfields across Okinawa were relentlessly attacked. Runways were cratered, hangars burned, aircraft destroyed before they could take off. The goal was simple: deny the Japanese the ability to contest the invasion from the air. Every bomb dropped in March was meant to save lives in April. But some of the most dangerous threats weren't in the open. During reconnaissance missions, American cameras uncovered something unexpected: a hidden base tucked away on Okinawa. It wasn't for aircraft. It was a manufacturing site for one-man kamikaze midget submarines, small, stealthy weapons designed to ram Allied ships at anchor. Once identified, the base didn't survive long. McPherson's unit struck the facility, wiping it out before the submarines could be deployed in large numbers. Another silent threat removed before it could ever reach the fleet. Not all of McPherson's missions were offensive. He also flew protective patrols, guarding damaged American ships that were barely staying afloat. One of them was the USS Franklin, a carrier so badly hit that she was effectively crippled. McPherson also flew message drop missions for his own carrier, the USS Essex, a reminder that even in the most technologically advanced war ever fought, some communication still depended on a pilot and a piece of paper. April 1st, 1945. Easter Sunday. To the U.S. Navy, it had a softer name: Love Day. But nothing about it was gentle. The largest amphibious assault of the Pacific. The invasion of Okinawa was massive beyond precedent. 400,000 men, 1,400 ships, the largest amphibious operation of the entire Pacific War. McPherson and his squadron were now flying missions not just to destroy, but to prepare the battlefield minutes before the landing. This time, their Hellcats carried a new weapon: napalm. Firebombs were dropped along the landing zones to burn away defenses and clear paths for incoming troops. Flames rolled across the beaches as landing craft closed in. Yet something felt wrong. The beaches were quiet. No heavy resistance. No massed gunfire. The reason soon became clear. The Japanese had abandoned the shoreline entirely, pulling their forces back into the rugged mountainous interior of Okinawa. They weren't trying to stop the invasion. They were trying to bleed it to death. Once ashore, American troops needed constant air support, and McPherson was right above them. These missions were guided by Air Force spotter planes flying dangerously low over the battlefield. Their job was to see what couldn't be seen. The Japanese had mastered camouflage. Targets often looked harmless: a hut, a pile of hay, a patch of trees. Spotter pilots would radio coordinates and Hellcats would strike. McPherson later recalled strafing would appear to be a simple grass hut. It exploded. The hut was actually an ammunition dump, concealed in plain sight. Another time, he hit what looked like a haystack. It erupted into flames. It was a hidden fuel dump. On Okinawa, nothing was what it seemed. As American forces pushed deeper inland, Japan unleashed its most terrifying strategy: Operation 10 Go. Its primary weapon was called the Divine Tempest. The Allies knew it by another name: kamikaze. These weren't conventional attacks. Pilots wore ceremonial red sashes. They flew one-way missions. Their aircraft were guided not by tactics, but by faith and desperation. Their goal was simple: crash into American ships, to sink carriers, to break morale, to turn the sea itself into a battlefield of terror. For sailors below, the strain was relentless. Radar contacts, bogies, appeared constantly. Ship gunners stayed at their stations nearly nonstop. Sleep was brief, nerves were raw, and every dot on the radar could mean death. April 6, 1945, McPherson's first aerial victories. On April 6th, McPherson's flight, call sign Wonder 5, was returning from a strike mission against an airfield on Kikaijima. They thought the mission was over. It wasn't.
Enemy contact. Flying low over the water, McPherson spotted them. 2 Japanese Val dive bombers hugging the waves, heading toward the fleet. He didn't hesitate. The first kill. McPherson dove. His guns opened up, rounds tearing into the first Val. He saw the pilot slump forward. The aircraft plunged straight into the ocean. No parachute, no recovery. The second kill. The second Val turned toward the coast. McPherson's leader warned him. Japanese shore batteries were firing heavily in that direction. McPherson chased anyway. He caught the bomber, set it ablaze, and watched it crash near the shoreline. 2 enemy aircraft destroyed. 2 suicide attacks stopped before they could reach American ships. A squadron's day. By the end of the day, every pilot in the Wonder 5 flight had scored at least 1 kill, and across the operation, Fighter Squadron 83 would claim 69 aerial victories, suffering minimal losses in return. A stunning achievement in one of the most dangerous air battles of the war. April 6 was a victory, but not an ending. The kamikaze threat didn't stop. It would haunt the fleet for weeks. But pilots like Don McPherson flying the F-68 Hellcat proved that even desperation could be met and defeated with skill, discipline, and resolve. Over Okinawa, the sky itself became a front line, and every intercepted aircraft meant lives saved below.